insult, dishonor, nor abuse one another.
We will neither insult nor abuse one another.
Abuse one another. We will share, practice, and promote and raise awareness about natural healing. We will share,
practice, and
promote
and raise awareness about natural healing.
And raise awareness about natural healing.
Healthy lifestyles and well-being.
Healthy lifestyle and well-being.
We will refrain from posting negative information.
We will refrain from posting negative information.
We will refrain from posting irrelevant information and falsehood.
We'll refrain
from posting
irrelevant
information
and
falsehood. It's all right. Singabelaphi, we are healers.
Singabelaphi, we are healers.
Our gifts are a gift to humanity and nature.
Our gifts are gifts to humanity and nature.
We will give back to nature what she has abundantly given us.
We will give back to nature what she has abundantly given to us.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Ashe, amaku. Amen. Amen. You can mute. Now, a quick explanation also for those who's first time coming in. We believe that the words that we speak are they are empowering, both to ourselves and to the hearer. So the word sound is power, as a certain tradition have confirmed. So we say this healers pledge together. So I have to explain that when we say we live by the principles of Ma'at, Unu, Ubuntu. Unu is a Karanga or Shona word, meaning the same thing as Ubuntu. It has a deeper connotation, but it basically means Ubuntu. And Ma'at also is the same word, which basically speaks about the principle of social harmony, cosmic harmony, and harmony between oneself and one's ancestors and one's God. And Ubuntu, Ma'at, and Unu basically are the same word, just from different parts of our great African society. So Nkosi uzongiphazamisa mayethanda uma masebe ready nomkhulu, so that umkhulu can greet the people and then we can start in earnest so that we make great use of time. But in the meanwhile, I would like to recite from this book. This book here is called Kemet African Royal Calendar Ancestral Prayers. It is translated by Umkhulu Untsingiza of the Zinzi Mandela Foundation and the Great Empire of Kemet movement. We say these prayers because they are translations from words that were written on the papyrus, or the walls, the temple walls in ancient Kemet, and also in Sudan, what they call Napata and Nubia and Meroe. So these are translations from English, but they were taken from an African language into English, and then Umkhulu brought them back to Ulimu Lwesintu isiZulu. And then I think there are also Setswana and Xhosa and Sotho translations out there. Okay, since she is ready, I will recite the prayer quickly, and then Umpasho, basically. Umpasho, and then Umkhulu will greet us. So since we are talking about a king, Heru today, Heru, who is known as a falcon or Nkosi, Uhlobo lweNkosi. The umpasho goes like this. Wena Nkosi oluthandekayo oluqhamuka ezinzulwini zomhlaba. Nkosi yesikhukhula nezikhukhula. Ngenze ngiphile, senze siphile. Ngumoya waseningizimu, uJehuthi ngumoya wasenyakatho. Wena omdala kunabo bonke. Iza eteb endlini yakho engcwele. Wena omncane kunabo bonke. Iza eper asa lapho wazalelwa khona. We will explain later what these terms mean, but in a nutshell, Heru is a son of Osar. And that's why they say he must come Emphahlweni kuthiwa uHeru must come into his father's house and restore his father's house. According to Zulu let me say Nguni and African cosmology, we know that sons do not live for themselves. Nami nje banginomuzi wami oyimizi yami. Leyo mizi akuyona eyami. I do not own those houses. The people who own the house is my father, whether he's alive or not, and my grandfather owns my father's house, and his grandfather and his grandfather and his grandfather, continuing down the genealogy. And in some traditions, the matrilineal traditions, it is the mother and the mother and the mother and the uncles and the uncles, or malume. They are owners of the house. So the living are only custodians. We are only looking after the physical things that are owned by our great ones who come before us. That's just an African tradition. So when we call Heru to his father's house, we're calling him to Asar's house. And Asar was presiding on earth on the house of his father Ra, who is Ramasedi, the god of light, the life force. Excuse me for using the word God, but that's just English for you. It fails to explain things that we know are deeper than just the words that they have constructed around them. So without further ado, I'd like to Nkosi to introduce us to Ubaba Umkhulu Ras Heru. Ngehlele ngezansi mina.
Thokozani abantu abadala, thokozani nabuhlanga, indlu ensundu, sibonge ukuphila, sibonge ukudla, sibonge inhlamvu yelanga esitholile kusa sivukile inyama ehlangane nokuphefumula. I would like to greet you all in the grace of the universal power that keeps us in life, the central light, umthalakazi wethu, our galaxy, the sun, the epitome of the impetus that gave birth to everything. Uheru ephila as an embodiment of ubaba wakhe uNkosi ithongo lokuqala, who is an embodiment in the realm of time and space of the ancient of days, the infinity, the supreme power of Amon Ra. Ngiyanibingelela nina bohlanga, igama lami nguHeru, Ras Heru. Ngibonge leli thuba engitholile lapha ekhaya endlini Ikhambi, one of the Sunday sessions, which is to break it down and to share in length about the arrival and the arrival of his season Heru. Ngibonga kakhulu mina bohlanga, ngibonga ukubalana, ngibonga ubalani. Ngicela ugogo athathe indawo.
Siyabonga mkhulu.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. It is very nice to have you here. Brother Heru is a very knowledgeable herbalist, and he's also a healer as well. I think because me and Menzi said we were going to do a session just to unpack in terms of the different types of healers, you know, and Brother Heru is very knowledgeable in herbs. Not every healer works with herbs. We work all in different ways. Menzi.
Ngikhona. Ngilalele wena. So we conduct our conversations here, even though we will be interviewing Umkhulu, but really it's a conversation. The word interview is really not the appropriate word to use. If we gave him a few questions, but really we will not stick only to those questions. And also you family members, our community, you are also will be welcome to just add your questions to the chat. Put some of your questions in the chat. And for those who are on Facebook, you can put your questions in the chat there or on the comments there, comment section with Facebook. Any questions that you have about some of the medicines that he might speak about and some of the concepts that he might speak about, because when we speak about immunity, we are not just talking about things that grow from the ground. We are speaking about various different elements. So I trust Umkhulu. I always repost, without his permission, I post some of the things that he speaks about, the herbs that sometimes you'll see him walking in the forest or somewhere and just saying, look, identifying a particular herb, identifying even like a sunflower and say, oh, the sunflower does this and this and this. And I'm like, wow, this man, he needs to come to Ikhambi. I am loving the things that he's speaking about. So yeah, so I give thanks for him being here. So without further ado, I would just like to ask his history. How did you come to knowledge of herbs like this, my king? How did you come to this present day being inyanga or umuntu or who is concerned with herbs?
Yes, well, particularly with it has always been an innate thing to be in love with plants from a tender age, from the upbringing. I've been so love with herbs, flowers, like, even cultivating in the same manner, you understand that. And then now, throughout the whole passage of time, as they grow up, it was all nurtured, throughout the whole passage of time as gifting me, particularly when I came to find my paternal side, of which there was just a confederate of Amakeza is in Yanga, Kabo Babami, so it was like a revelation with this whole thing of under my head all along. You understand, because their genealogy, they run through my blood. So above that, I'm a Virgo, and then it is my predisposition, to be grounded. My element is earth, and apart from that, that our parents, they gave us names and surnames, but the universe gives us numbers. So my number is number 4. Number 4 is the number of the tetragrammaton, the 4-letter word which represented this earth. This earth is the earth because of it being the 4-pole magnet, as we know, the 4 cardinal points of the compass. And then, so it's just became a prerogative for me, to be knowledgeable about certain stuff about this earth, because this earth doesn't only host properties for healing, we also have other valuable materials. We've got precious stones, we got the elements, mainly the fire, the air and water, which are all hosted in this earth, So this earth is in old Kemet, they called it the gap. Gap is a magnetizer, the one who binds Smite Dawe, the one who binds everything all together. So the whole electromagnetic spectrum, which makes life a possibility, is due to the interplay of these elements, fire, water, air, being infused with the element of ether, all taking place in this 4-pole magnet, the Holy Grail, the whole star, the earth, So that is my prerogative as a number 4. So that's where my whole knowledge sprouts from,
Okay, thanks, King. That's where knowledge comes from. Hi, siyabonga. So at this present moment, which, let me just ask just one question first. The issue of light and herbs. Where does light and the knowledge of herbs or the use of herbs, or let me ask it in this way. What is the relationship between Ukukhanya, light as represented by Heru, the life force called Heru, the natural force called Heru? The relationship between the light and the knowledge of healing, and which herbs do you choose for which type of the day and which type of ailment? I hope it's not too much of a broad question.
Not at all. Well, give thanks. As we know that the sun is the center, our galaxy, and then the sun being an epitome of the first impetus, Ura. So when you check now geographically, in like Africa is blessed, not to discard other parts of the world, but Africa is so blessed with a vast amount of ultraviolet rays. You know, that it's the earth with its own tropical and subtropical sunlight. So that alone, it enriches our vegetation, you know, including herbs, you know, it's in with a whole lot of power, you know, because the foods, the herbs, the things that this is in the style, you know, out of photosynthesis, you know, that's another way of ura. We end up eating about phosphorus, you know, that like we end up eating the gods themselves, you know. It's another way of like reinforcing a relationship, a corner between us and light, because everything is light, you know, on the subtle notation, like notation, everything is light. Even our bodies are made of light. Everything is energy, light. So, like using our herbs, it's another way of reinforcing that relationship, you know, that there's a scenario, because what is it that we need from the herbs? It's their phyto nutritious compounds, you know, that are capable of ailing our genetical codings, such as like the whole deliberation we allopathy. We all know that the allopathy is another form of therapy that introduces other chemical compounds that are way bigger than compounds that are being produced by the disease or the illness itself. So meaning that like herbs or the vegetation, the earth energy got a whole lot of power, you know, to ameliorate even our genetical structure, rearranging even the DNA too, you know, but of course based on a willpower, because the first healing starts from the mind. The spiritual ingredients, they have to be in oneness with the herbs, the medicines. Yeah, so the light plays a major role, because we are of light. So inducing a light in a rate higher within our bodies. Local ideal, and one way to do that is the injection of herbs now coming to better our healthcare systems and stuff like that.
That's very interesting, King. Thank you. I just want to ask this another question that is raised by something that you just mentioned. You said we ended up consuming the gods. We end up consuming the Neteru, which is a very beautiful thing, because Asar Imhotep speaks about all these Neteru, or the deities that are depicted in Egypt. He speaks of them as medicines. They are just medicines. And he also says they are just numbers. They're just numerological values of nature. It's just basically nature being depicted anthropomorphically, or a humanization of natural elements. So it's interesting what you said. So I hear say that the body is made up of a particular amount of water, maybe about, they say, close to 90% water. So if the body is made up of so much water, maybe 78% to 90% water, which part of the body's makeup is made up of light? Or would you know how much, like where would the light sit in my body if I'm, do you understand my point? Like, we know where the glands that keep water in the brain, how much water, in the heart, how much water, in the blood corpuscles, how much water, in the veins, in the muscles, water is stored. Is light stored? How is light stored in the body?
Yes, that's an interesting question, Now, first of all, I would like to highlight the fact that when we talk about the body, the physical body is an emanation of the variety of array of other bodies that constitutes the possibility of this physical body. You see, what we call the disease is the imbalance of the element. Ulama bodies, these are bodies, the subtle bodies, which are an impetus to this physical body. So those bodies, they are made of a light, and we have to understand when we talk about light, we talk about the wide spectrum of phenomenon, because now our cells, as we all know, they are made of protons, your electrons, your neutrons, the nucleus. What we find in the nucleus is the energy, that energy that moves in a recursive motion of photon light. So light is the substratum of everything, and light itself is an emanation of Netzi, which is water, because everything emerged from first primordial stream, which is like the waters of life, you understand? And then light governs our own, primarily it governs our DNA structure, our genetical engineering, what we refer to as the photon lights, even our own thoughts. Our own thoughts are ascribed to an element of air, the lights. So the thoughts therapy within the whole structure of a human, the mental is the light that gives the reality to the basically it breaks down the elements that makes the water system in somebody, and that water system is the blood system. The blood system carries an amount of light because the blood of a human being is said to like C55 and 205 Fe, and then when you get on up to those numbers, they will give up a sum of 137. And we know that in physics, 137 is a point where like the quantum wave travels to collapse until it becomes a particle of light, And when we meditate, again, it will be an activation of our DNA system, that will sort of like give our like the whole genetical structure, to emit like an amount of light again. So light is everything, because from the very first substratum, what came was the light energy. So, yeah.
From the water of noon came the Ra, Atum,
yes.
and as Atum
yes,
Ra. Thank you for that. So, do Do you have any favorite herbs as a healer? You meet a lot of people with different ailments. People come through to you with various ailments. Maybe sometimes it's a spiritual one, a mental health issue. Sometimes it's a physical health issue. Do you, at the moment, since you've been practicing, do you have any favorite herbs?
Well, I love all of them herbs, but in particular, I make sure we'll see in my shelves, umdabu must always be there. Why? Because
what kind of herb is umdabu? Excuse me to disturb you. Sorry to disturb you. Umdabu, for us who may not know these Nguni terms that you are speaking about, when you say umdabu, what kind of herb is that? Could you give us maybe an English translation or a scientific? Thanks. So you can continue.
Yeah, so I make sure that umdabu is always stage and shelf. Umdabu is an elephant's foot. An elephant foot. Basically, this is the roots. Umdabu is called in Sesotho and Setswana Mosetsane. Mosetsane in Zulu. Mosetsane. It's in Tswana and Sesotho, Ngesizulu, umdabu, and then in English they call it an elephant's foot.
So what does it do?
So this herb in particular.
That you please bring it closer to the camera.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how it looks like though.
But we will provide pictures separately.
Yeah. So
elephant's foot.
Elephant's foot. Yeah. Pardon?
Is it a root or a bark?
This is a root. Or the root? It's a root. This is a root.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a root. And then the elephant's foot is for zone because it caters for a whole lot of different ailments ranging from pain, aches, migraines, constant migraines, intestinal complications in women. It cleanses the uterus, womb problems, caters for colds, if you have a fever, or it caters for in liver. Because in liver, it's more like a dry clean. All of the toxins are being trapped there, and then when you release it to the colon. It also cleanses the colon. It's important to cleanse the colon, man. The whole solar plexus region, and our solar plexus are the center of will power. To Uheru, one of the qualities being ascribed to Uheru is victory and leadership, and like the boldness, the confidence, the rulership, you understand, and it will power, in terms of like exercising the free will, you will see impact and the positive decisions, whether it's in business or family or what. So yeah, cleansing a colon is very important. So this guy, particularly this guy, we are saying that cleanse the colon. This guy, what's it for zonke, man?
No, thank you. Enough said. Enough said. There's a question. Let's listen to the question, please. Let's take the question, please.
A particular person
we'll
that you wouldn't recommend. Mkulu?
Please speak.
I was asking, is there a particular person that you wouldn't recommend this herb to? Because in as much as we say uzi for zonke, we can't use, there are certain people that we can't prescribe certain herbs to. So and would be thinking about using this herb. What kind of people would you not recommend this herb to?
Well, I would say Ageko. Really, I would say Ageko, because I had a guy who began my peptic ulcers last month, Like he went to, you know, in one of the medical institutions that I won't mention. Caesar, you know, I gave him a concoction of this, and umatunga and mountain potato, African potato, you know, and then if it bake it's only the day before yesterday, like ufila better brother, you know, and this herb that's being infused kuma HIV and AIDS patients or AMA victims, you know, and and a CD4 count they lower and a CD4 count they average. So umdabu is a neutralizer, you know, due to its compounds and properties, you know. So ageko umuntu so far engati like begangeko suitable to use her.
Perhaps Nkulu, the question to expand Mankosi's question. You know, the issue in African, or what the people call traditional healing, the contention between mainstream healing and our healing is this amount of portions. How much portion, and even application. Is it applied topically? Is it applied in ngomlomo? Is it applied via an enema? Or is it applied via to vomit? You know, those questions are the questions that sometimes separate holistic healers and the natural healers with the with the mainstream science. So maybe the question is a question of, let's say a person comes with a child who's ailing, the child is 5 or below the age of 5. So will it be a question perhaps of the amount, what is it with portion? There's a word because I'm looking for, but you get what I'm saying, you get my point.
I get it. Well, basically, like after we crush it, because you have to crush it in the powder form. So as an individual, as ECB powder form, I'm a spoons I3, and then that is like prescribed to umuntu or say umuntu omdala, so meaning that like from 1 to 12, like the adolescent, like you know. So I'm a spoons I3, you know. If also sebenzisa umdabu uyiwona one, let's say mhlambe you're trying to cleanse your blood system, your blood circulating, and then you're not gonna infuse it with amanyama herbs, you know. So ama spoons I3 after sweet kashile, and then are suitable. And then as for
some cold water or warm water.
Sorry,
I'm calling upon this. You apply these 3 spoons of the powdered substance in cold water, in boiled water, or in just plain?
No, you boil it by itself. Boil it with a boiler, and then we boil after we boil it more for about like 20 minutes, and then you sieve out the stuffless powdery, and then you sip it as tea, and then if ever you're gonna infuse it with other herbs, you know, maybe projected to heal amanyama ailments, and then we increase the amount, you know, in terms of proportion because you know, it's like other herbs, they have this thing of, if we use the we want on its own independently, man, one of my properties Mara is soon as immediately as maybe you infuse with, let's say, slepe, you know, slepe probably can have the capability to activate other properties on umdabo, you know, which makes another chemical reaction. I understand. So you have to limit the amount if also infuse with other herbs. Particularly we are crush powder, muscle powder, and then like we are boil it for about 20 minutes. And then after that, you drink it as tea. So umdabo uzi for zonke. We are seeing even different stages of cancer. We are seeing even with hypertension, like usiza kuma headaches, like
it's an important herb, this one. Yo, I like it. It's reminding me of cannabis. It's reminding me of cannabis, but another story. Yeah, and aloe, you know, Nkosi, those herbs. We are reluctant to say easy for zonke, but some of them are just like that. They can heal so many things. It's just the knowledge of how that is important.
I also like to recommend,
continue.
Saying Kuno, I also usually recommend that self-medication sometimes can be very, very dangerous. And it's better that you speak to a knowledgeable herbalist to help you when you want to embark on a treatment. Don't just take things from the shelf and use them, because one of the things that I actually realized is that some herbs are not suitable for everybody, which is why I always say we must refrain from saying Uzi for zonke, because I remember when I had a consult, you know, I was told that no. If you're going to have an operation, it's not advisable that you take this because it will thin your blood, it will make your blood flow, and then you're gonna lose a lot of blood on the operating table, and it's gonna create another complication. That's why, hence the question that I asked is that what kind of people would you not recommend this to? Because some herbs you might drink it, or maybe you're pregnant, and then it ends up touching out the pregnancy, and then you wonder what happened, and no, it's the herb that you actually took, you know.
The chemical compounds within the herb. Well, that's very true, because as we were like legal wave with the whole advent of the corona, you know, like Maseko, or the Artemisia infra, or Mhlonyana, you know, was just the talk of the town. But like we knew a few of aspects of Mhlonyana, especially the dangerous parts of Mhlonyana, you know. You know, like it's a truth that herbs that are not suitable for certain people due to their conditions. Abanye abantu banama-anxiety, abanye abantu baphuza ama-herbs and then sebereacta ngendlela. And so it's advisable ukuthi umuntu uzazi wena ukuthi allergic kuyini, and ama compounds, and those compounds, if you intake them, azokwenza which reaction. But this guy for me, and it's in my shelf, I always make sure to corner guy. This guy heals eczema. This guy heals this and that, you know. So
which one is that called? What is that one called?
It's Imdabu, the elephant's foot.
Imdabu. Yo, it heals internal and external.
Yeah.
Elephant's foot. Where can one find it? Before we move on to other herbs, when can one find this herb? Can we find them through you? Or is there other ways to find them?
Like Umdabu, yes, you can find it through me. I have Umdabu. We are cooler. It also goes like in different playing sites, you know, in Skangeni, you know. I wouldn't really know which way about, because I know social where I get it from, but I wouldn't really know which way else. But it's a herb that grows, man. Like, it's our disposal. It's its name.
Can you identify it by its leaf?
Pardon?
Can you identify it by its leaf?
Fortunately, I don't have the leaves here right now, but what I can do is I will send Nkosi, and then like he can show everybody thereafter.
Kulu, while you are still on the topic of where can people find, I also want to remind people, for those who are able to access it, I also want to remind people about ethical harvesting. Ethical harvesting is when you do find a herb, you only take the portion and the amount that you need, and you leave the rest for other people and for nature to regenerate. You can't kill the whole plant when you only want a leaf. And you also need to ask the earth for permission to harvest. You can't just walk up to a plant and just harvest it without asking for permission first. So therefore you need to harvest ethically.
Absolutely, that is the key. It is part of our principles as Ikhambi to give back to nature what she has abundantly given us. Ethical harvesting and also spiritual harvesting, as Gogo just explained. We speak to the, I mean, Umkhulu is saying this guy, this girl, this lady. I was going to call that one this girl, not this guy, but it's Mkhulu's herb, not mine. So the point is that we speak to nature as our brother and sisters. My garden here, it grows so beautifully because I speak to the plant and I talk to my children to talk to the plants too. You know, talk to it. If you want it to grow and you're going to enjoy it one day, talk to it.
Even the concussions, once it's mixed, I always say to people when we speak about herb preparation that you can't mix a herb and just leave it on the shelf and not talk to it. So you have to go back and speak to the herb and for it to grow. We spoke about this when we were preparing tinctures. Even after you've put the herb in that alcohol base, that vinegar base, or that oil base, you go back and you shake it and you speak to it so that you rejuvenate the life back into it and you give it more. Like as you said in the beginning of the session, that word is hekao. The words that we speak are magic, and they come to life once we've uttered them. Mkhulu has a very beautiful herb in his hands right now, and I want him to talk about the herb. Please do show people the herb.
This is fennel. It's one of the most predominant herbs that was so indigenous in ancient Kemet, along with the aloe, aloe ferox, aloe vera, aloe cactus. So this one, fennel.
Imboziso.
Yes. Imboziso, it good for who either imbalances amaningi in the elementary system of person. Ibulala pathogen. Ibula, it's antibacterial. Bacteria zangaphakathi azamukunyobela system. It's antiviral as well. Like, you know, easy for this is because pathogen, because Yona itself, it contains of microbiomes. You know, was pathogens. And then now when we look at our, like, the whole indigenous understanding of Izifo, Unezifo, that cannot be defined or described within the context of the Western Western deliberation, such as Zidliso, you know. So la sibulala madliso, la kunabantu esihamba kubona and then bayasicaba basifake izinto, and then here we sibulala leyo moya leyo, because isifo when sihleli in the blood, in the body, it doesn't just inherit the physical body, but it further reaches it affects other bodies, you know, the multiplicity of other bodies within. So this herb, because we must remember, which is since herbs no hero. Heru iphathi yakhe inephathi ukuba i-warrior as Heru who dead. So amanye ama-herbs sithi siwabiza ngamakhubalo or induku, and we all know ukuthi it's a weapon and mophethe induku sukushaya uyabona leyo nto ya. So kunama-herbs khona like okulo. So lo baba lo ungena kona kuleyo category leyo futhi again. But again, ungamsebenzisa futhi as a spice, you know, because it tenderizes ukudla kamnandi, you know, wenza kunuke kamnandi futhi, whereas enza umsebenzi ngaphakathi kuwena. So talking about some herbs okulwa, we all know that, if you know, right?
Yes, and people can go back to the basic herbs session. We did talk in length about the fennel as well.
Yes,
but we will be reposting a picture of the fennel plant and just to show people how the root looks like and how the tree, because it's quite close to, there's this other herb that is quite close to, it's now, now escapes me. They look very similar, but if you go back to the basic herb session, I differentiate between the fennel plant and that other herb, so that you're able to note the difference. Some herbs, they look very, very similar. And just because they look similar doesn't mean that they actually do the same thing.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yes.
Before Mkulu goes on, are there any questions? Are there any comments from our people?
We have one question from Caesar. She wanted to know herbs for cleansing. But I'm not sure if Mkulu is going to touch on this later or not, but I just wanted us to note that question, because she wanted ukubuza ukuthi amaphi ama-herbs alula ongawahlanganisa ukugeza, e.g. spiritual bath.
Okay. I also have my herbs like my unipels, right? It's the Ras cleansing, womb cleansing. So my herbs that are simple. Sometimes I call them in your kitchen. The mixture, or rather the concoction of each turmeric, because the turmeric in our properties called curcumins are good for flash toxins and then turmeric and ginger, the honey, and then I don't know if I'm going to umdabu, and then but the umdabu powder, and then oh, thank you.
This is turmeric.
This is turmeric. This is turmeric. So it's a simple mixture of cleansing that particular ailment. It's a turmeric and then a ginger. No more, but I don't recommend the ginger pick here the end product. But take ginger and try to dry it like in the sun, and we crush it with powder or use it grated with powder, and then honey, and then rosemary. Rosemary now we ends the like we all miss the dry, and then into powdery form, and then we mix it together, and then we end even the liquid, we boiler, and then we phuza daily, Ikhambi daily, isiza kakhulu in terms of detoxifier, the G section yabantu besifazane, and yeah.
And then for bathing, like because it's very important that in as much as you can go to a traditional healer for cleansing, there are also like daily cleansings that you can possibly do as an individual. What would you recommend?
Well, for umzimba, now in line with the whole advent of season here. Remember ilanga liyona ke into kuthina as dikalanga abantu bakwalanga. You know, that is not to say other cultures you understand, but we are the season whereby we have like an abundance of rainwater. So try to collect rain water and then in a bowl, right? And then ufake of salt, and you take that bowl, we make elangeni, make sure good like it's not even partly cloudy, like kunelanga, you know, because what we're trying to do is to extract the life essence, the sekem, the light energy via my plants, via the amanzi in. So wabeka elangeni in this hall, and then you alter amagama. If you wanna fence, kuluma, you know, with net that presides over amanzi, you know, we're saying to in our cosmology, the southern hemisphere, like it's that is being ascribed to amanzi, you know, it's on so there uthi abusise amanzi, make not to tap water, and make sure you via barefoot, right? To connect it to gap, and then you alter amagama kulawo manzi. So lawo manzi uzwabeka for about like 5 hours, you know. So in interval, look at where manzi, la manzi, you know, whereas you talk, because the power of word, sound, and power is so potent, you know, to activate or to rearrange DNA mundo into another optimum level. So you keep on like staring la manzi, for 5 hours. Elangeni, make sure you know, the full blast, you know, and then samanzi, and then ungenendlini, ukizangala manzi. We are artificial the way to the utterances, you know, through the power of words and sound. Then ukizangala manzi, those like rituals, rituals like daily rituals that you can conduct then on your own. And then you push we are pose, you know, and mase uqedile ukugeza ngawo kumele ukuthi uhambise back to umhlaba, you know, so uzwachitha not with rain, not kuphi, uzwachitha like emhlabathini, you know, and thanks imvelo, you know. So that's another way of cleansing, you know, apart from iwasho njengama, you know, of salt, you mix next name, so it's a simple mix of its name, crop salt, the holy ash daily, it cleanses even if it or an emotion, and the aura comma bright is on this and it's bright.
In Pepo, the one that you have there is also good as well. I just remembered when I'm seeing it. Okay, Zangamanzi and Pepo is also a good way to cleanse. Plus, it's also good for your skin. I'm not sure if they can see or not. Let's just put it closer. Yes, in Pepo, Helichrysum. So Helichrysum splendidum, that's the botanical name or the scientific name. So when I think about it, the whole cleanse part, and it's also very good in terms of wound healing, you know, and if you have a bad odor, it's also very good that you soak your body inside in water that Helichrysum splendidum. So it's a very good cleanser. But besides the whole bodily effect, it's also a very good spiritual or spiritual cleanser as well. And
this step is kingly because it bridges the gap corner with spirituality and the physical, because it caters for, apart from what we she to evoke but it got benefits because in anti-inflammatory properties.
Yes.
You know, like uvuvukalokuthise mhlambe nama-hypertensions mhlambe nama-headaches umuntu uyakwazi ukubhoyila impepho and ayiphuze drink it. So you quite correct gogo. Iyasiza kakhulu Helichrysum. And again masishisa impepho, sometimes there's this ash thing. The ash there, sometimes uyithathe uyifake emanzini ogeza ngawo, and then uthathe isinimfu, not text, uthathe into, particularly into. So it's an ash from the plants.
You have it there.
Yeah.
You have it there.
So it's into and the black ash pumalana. So iyasiza kakhulu nakhe for the lack of a better way, also uqhwakelisa, like you know, you know,
like to bring closer.
So it evokes the whole spirit. Yeah.
Sorry to disrupt. Some people are saying they cannot see Mkhulu. Does that mean they cannot see me or they cannot see Heru?
I think they can't see you.
Who cannot see Heru? Besides Roy. Who cannot see Heru? The sound is clear. But besides Roy, is there everyone else able to see Mkhulu? Okay, now they see him. Okay, now he sees him. Okay, now he can. But everyone else was disrupted or not? You couldn't see him?
Yes, we didn't see him. Yes, we didn't see him mostly. But
what was that?
Okay.
Now it's clear. All right, we give thanks. Yeah. Oh, no.
You know what I also would like to say, that if you're viewing from your phone, because the audio device and the camera device are two separate devices for better quality. If you're using your phone, you will not be able to see him speak. So you would have to literally go to the audio device to be able to see him. So you have to go to the participants and then click on the video feed, and then you'll be able to see him. So that's why some people are unable to see him. I don't know if that really makes sense. Samaku.
Thank you for that. Samaku. Oh, and sorry, Tabadi. Tabadi, please, I'm interested in your name. Please, can you unmute your mic and introduce yourself? I like your name, both your names. It sounds very powerful. Word sound is power. Okay, if you don't mind, you can just say hi and tell me what's your name, which culture your name comes from. Is it Karanga? Is it Ndao?
Greetings.
If you don't mind, don't be shy. Are calling.
It's Tabadiawa.
Yeah, greetings, Queen.
It's Tabadiawa Ma'aparangwe.
What does your name mean, the first name?
Tabadiawa basically just simply means...
Excuse me for the digression.
Intabaziawa. In Zulu, the mountains are
powerful.
falling.
Yeah, we will.
It was
the mountains are crumbling and falling.
Yes, it was my great grandmother's name.
4 generations back.
Yes. And
it's a powerful name.
Maparangwe ke lebitso la badimo. Seaparangwe ingwe. Uqoka ingwe, like I don't know how to explain it in Zulu. But you know the
no, it's clear to be dressed in
yes,
royalty.
Yes, royalty. I'm from royalty. I'm actually vendor, but ekaya see yes, so siphume ebukhosini.
It's not a coincidence that you are in this session. So hii session yethi ibusisekile kakhulu ebukhosini bayethi. Siyabonga gogo. Siyabayethi. Ndabezitha. Mkhulu, excuse me for that small digression there, but it was a significant one. Please continue.
Yes.
Nkosi.
Yeah, I was
saying something.
Yes, I was trying to.
We're talking about the ash.
The ash, no? The ash. No, I wanted to talk about something. But okay, the ash, it attracts the whole ancestral spirit, to clothe the whole aura with the ancestral spirit again, because as we expose ourselves in different circumstances in a day, like with the dopas, it's more, so it daily cleansing corner, it's necessary. And and like I just wanna talk about.
No, it just when you spoke about the ash, I kind of remembered something that when you come back from like sacred, like Ematunim, I remember my grandmother used to say but in Klambulula with the ash, so basically she would mix she would mix ash, helichrysum ash, as well as water, and then she would sprinkle on us, just before you enter the yard.
So I think who's in a corner, like push my spirit, you know, such as the alo. I also remember Masbuya, like graveyard, Mababegi alo.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I wanted to touch base the cool footy in part Lega Heru, because the Heru season, right? And then Heru, like he's an avenger of Ubawake. Avenger who was dissected by brother Wake, who said the ego in men, the ego in a person. And then now when the state of man is being plunged into a dark layer of spiritual oblivion, and then Iba dissected into 14 pieces, right? Meaning that it can never give birth to any moral code. That's why the only thing that wasn't found by Consortiac, which epitomizes the wisdom, was the phallus, you know. And then, but out of imagic, one resurrector again, or God King, Osa, and then Masa figure Sazotata rulership now, so figure as Heru, or figure as Umtuana, Heru, Bagat, and other mythologies in ancient Kemet, Heru, Nefertem, the one who engendered the wood world through the power of weight coming from Ilota's flower, the same primordial stream, you know, the substratum of everything, the divine supreme. And then I figure as Umtoana akule and learn about the mysteries of life. Cooler, and then must figure the phase where now the finally would say avenger like Ubabake. So with our qualities, Okulo, I got there now. And remember these things are in an anthropomorphic like ways, ne? And then like basically they are like the symbology or symbolism behind our day-to-day livity. And then that's where now the mind will grow out, and then was a moral instinct and what moral code between Indo and right and wrong. And then you become the bearer of the holy sacred inner grade. We are one of the inner lights. We understand the Heru, the sun is light. We understand your free will may be inclined towards in the right. So once you are plunged into the polarity of knowing what's going in the right and in the wrong, like Maseko Banjalo, it's like we soldier, you know, you're a fighter. You always have to fight you always to be confident in the battle and the victory of good over in the wrong. That is not to say in the wrong icon necessarily. Both poles are worth living, right? But within the span of birth and death, like womb and tomb, within this particular span is to let light prevail. But to let light prevail, you have to be a warrior, you know, to surface all of those moral, ethical codes of Heru Masakulile from being a child, Heru Pakat, saying another stage, so Heru Behu death, now the fighter. So all of the ammunition I paid are the precepts of Ma'at. So we fight and prevail elite out of Obama art, you know. And then Elife is a pillar, is an interplay of the main archetypal elements, you know. They constitute our universe, the inner universe and the outer universe, you know. They also constitute the temperament, our character, our persona, you know, such as, you know, that everything within the electromagnetic spectrum, like life is a pillar, everything is made up of these two forces of the electric spark and the magnetic spark, you know, and then they are the fuel that makes life to be possible, even within our bodies. We are like electromagnetic beings. So the electromagnetism within us, it influences indlela esibehave ngayo, the behavioral patterns, they are human qualities, you know, such as anger. You know, anger is a manifest of the fire principle, but everything that is of electromagnetism, which is negative and positive, it's a duality of time and space. Right? So within fire corner, within you, being embedded within you intrinsically, it vibrates either in a positive manner or on a negative manner. Take for a fire instance, which is a choleric temperament. It's ascribed to practical qualities such as the anger in a negative side, anger, jealousy, what do you call, like, do you understand? And then you have qualities, a fire again, you know. I was like such as like confidence, you know, such as like, you know, enthusiastic, you know. So everything is an interplay of this elements 44 presided over by the 50 either. So these elements now, they influence the behavior you understand. So now Heru, if I call about Heru Behudet, like Heru Behudet, because he has mastered the balance between the interplay of lama elements, you know, meaning that even your moral conduct, so pila wako, having to abide by the principles of the precepts of math. Finally, the whole structure of Ubuntu the Ma'at, like in you, you understand that therefore you become like a fighter of life. You understand, which is almost a transcender to another realm by tongo, elite, you know. So Uheru was Uguti Abe king, you balance the upper realm and the lower realm, you know. So the upper realm, it's the same interplay of element infusion within our 7 bodies, more bodies within, from your body, your physical, your astral, you know, your mental, you know, your atmic, your buddhic, your logic, your you know, like, but these 7 spheres are intrinsic within umuntu ngaphakathi, and to apply principles of my art. And then apply principles of my art, you conquer what is with chaos or effect. Therefore, you conquer entropy or the forces of sex. Therefore, Heru by the was avenger you know, by sitting on a right throne. So when your whole structure you are the throne, and the throne in the upper side and the lower side, the quaternary side, which is the ego self and the higher God self. And then when I'm forces of the androping, I able to target where, you know, like I corner within the full spectrum of the universe, you know, since time and space is governed by dark and light, you know. So who's also as a song this card, as Heru Behudet in a hair, about him or slave. And then given a happy whole
Slepe. Okay. Is it a Botswana word? A Sotho word?
It's a Zulu word.
Slepe.
Yeah, slepe.
Slepe.
Cool. I want, yeah.
Okay.
Slepe. Nkulama kehla to sleep. Now my bamboo to sleep. You know.
Do you know the English?
Unfortunately, I don't know the English word for this one. You know, and like Nesipaha, you know, like I've searched for Amanyama help, some Amanyama indigenous like weddings or corner, but unfortunately, you know. So
no, it's fine. It's okay.
Even when you check the internet, a corner, different states a corner, but about Shamakama corner, we would like, you know, we see like, you know, English in English.
Sometimes
we have to know that in the southern hemisphere we have like 49 1,000 different species of herbs, and then out of law now 5,000 wow are beneficial for herbal use or therapy. So 5,000 imningi kakhulu ukuthi you know singawazi ukuthi igama lawo bani, but so ama properties wakhona siwazi, you know.
Okay, can you return to what you were saying about it?
So uSlepe uyafighta kakhulu emimoyeni emibi esegazini like lo muntu, nanokuthi uxoshe like imoya that you accumulate, however, like mohamba, you know, like
do we use it?
USlepe siyaw crusher, so crush noma ungangaba like to like powder, like fine powder, but final crush, and then uyafutha, like uyafutha ngawo mawufutha ngawo uyakhulumisa each herb ikhulumise or with sound and power. So ukhulumisa uSlepe, and then uyageza futhi ngawo mawuqeda ukufutha uSlepe.
What is futha is to what, burn or to steam, or is to steam?
But siyafutha with steam with uSlepe. No, before ngizethi usebenza kanjani, I was still like trying to explain to uSlepe one. So we are on uSlepe ulwe ngawo, and then umixa nespaha. Again, ispaha.
Also, these are two different herbs.
Yeah.
So this the one you have on the other side, the long one, it's uSlepe. And then please bring it this side.
Spaha.
So this is spaha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So uSlepe no sipaha uyatholakala kuma herbal markets kakhulu. Uyalwa ngale mawungakwazi ukulala sometimes ebusuku. Kunabantu ngenzeka ukuthi bakuthumela ngezinto. Kunabantu sometimes who cast spells uyabona at you. So this herb is an armor, it's a shield uyabona leyo. So iyalwa kakhulu. It's one of fighting herbs uyabona enzayo. So in terms of uyisebenzisa ke uyafutha, you steam ngayo or uyaqhuma ngayo, and uyakhona ukuthi ugabhe, it's expectorant, that's, you know, kappa.
I have no idea what is it.
So kappa ngawo, but ukappa is not for everyone. Other people feel comfortable. So if I was ukappa, just in a portioning one of these, of both of these, crush in the that will maybe amount to a teaspoon, and then boil the manzi, abe warm, when the manza warm, and then you let teaspoon and then you drink it. You know, it circulates the system up. Right, for those abanga kwazi like ukugaba again, yeah, we are geza mentioning ukugeza, ne? So we are geza ngayo, so we are ngale herb lena herb yokufighter, and again I have this herb. Most of us we know umababaza.
African potato. Oh, say again.
Mababaza. Yeah.
Right.
Mababaza. And then I'm sorry, I don't have like the traditional terms for these, you know, because lema hips lawa as a makaya, I think, you know. So,
it's okay.
Yeah. And then
What's the scientific name? Yeah.
Pardon?
No, continue.
Yes, I. So umababaza ufana like an onion kanjena, because if you are ukata like the onion. So basically you bait with this one na corner food, it helps in clearing of it's ones of bad energies, bad spirits. In the yard, you find some food, you put water, fag it in your pocket, and then you sprinkle, whether outside the yard or like inside in the house, in your home, and then you sprinkle maybe however my energies are right, you know. So umababaza uyasiza futhi in terms of abantu abane skin problem. Uyasiza skin problem apart from ukulwa nemoya emibi, on skin uyasiza umababaza and then ukwazi ukuthi rejuvenate ama-dead cells again. Ulali acne nakhona manginkinga yokuthi unenkinga yobuso ama-pimples nani, but yeah, it's itchy, like uyaluma umababaza. And then with me again here, one kill my hips like now my hips of fighter, you know, fighter is Heru dead, you know, like I'm a warrior. So here I have Imulen. Again, I have Imulen here.
Can you just show one leaf so that yes. Let's try and do this. Yes. Yeah, it's dried up, but we'll try and find a picture of the fresh one and show you the dried herb one. Yeah. Funny, you say mulen and some people say mulen. Pronunciation.
It depends which part of the country you're coming from. So yeah, the mulen, the mulen.
No, speak to you.
So yeah, imulen, first of all, this is a powerful herb as well, you know, because it's detoxifies our lungs. It detoxifies our lungs in excess of mucus. You know, our body organs, when they're congested with mucus, could be a problem because mucus, it blocks, it creates a certain membrane, you know. It can be implanted with liver, and then you have to liver it traps toxins. And then if liver is affected by an excess of imulen, I was to properly, even like your isisu sakho, you know, as it was would absorb a whole lot of different phytonutrients from different vital plant sources that you can ever get, even if it's like or like which is optimally like great, but once on an excess of mucus, yeah, was would compromise the whole system, you know. So this sister right here would a whole role, you know, in clearing off mucus, you understand? And then imulen is also used because in our agents called saponins. The saponins nama phytogens, nama toxins, especially on your pulmonary region or respiratory region. So imulen is a role which is quite huge when it comes to cleaner off like your pulmonary regions. And the in ancient times, they were said to be used in curing misalignment with spinal cord. Roots imulen. And again, it's I'm sorry that I couldn't get the florals because in flower are yellow. So the yellow flowers are extracted and when essential oils. You can infuse flower corner yellow and with the olive oil and what you call the garlic. Garlic is well known for its properties of balance immune. So we infuse those three, right? And then I enter like when it's pastry, and then I put for when like a massager, and then apart from that, it cleanses skin for in. So imulen, it's one of the greatest herb in a corner for recommended for everyone. But I've heard to good allergies. Like fanele be careful and cautious ukusebenzisa imulen because now ibhekile it's in a fur kancane, you know, like Yeah, so abantu abanama-allergies nakhona fanele babheke kuqala before basebenzise i-mullein, but it's one of the powerful herbs nakhona ekhona.
You know, when you speak about mullein and how it is good for chest and cleansing out the mucus, removing the mucus in your chest. It just made me, I'm looking at the herbs that you haven't spoken about, and I'm looking at ikataza. I'm looking at ikataza, and and it also has those qualities. And this one, before Mkulu, I actually speaks about it. It's an endangered species, and you do not use this herb unless you absolutely have to, because we need to preserve. It's not because of any health reason, but for environmental purposes. Please don't use this herb unless you absolutely have to. It is an endangered species herb. If we do not take care of it, in a couple of years' time, we will not have this herb. And if you are able to, please plant your own, because it's just, let's allow nature to recover, you know, because it has been, and the reason why it's an endangered species is due to over-harvesting of this herb. So again, we go back to the whole point about ethical harvesting. You know, don't take more than what you need from nature. Just take the amount that you need, and if where you always need to go back and rejuvenate and replant those seeds back, because once you've used something, as Mkulu said when he spoke about the water from the rain, that you need to take it back to the earth once you're done using them, using the water. Same as with herbs. If you're done using certain herbs, and if they can be planted back onto the earth, please do so. Replant them back into the earth to allow the earth to heal and recover.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true, you know, like it's all based to be delicate on the scenario, us as abantu with the whole vegetation scenario, because we are all like in nature. We are in nature, independently. We are in nature. The sky is like day one, you know. So no baba mkhulu called the Katazo. This is self-explanatory.
Yeah, we click to profile it. I will repost the pictures. We do know what's the botanical name, or the English name for this one. It's just I can't remember what it is from the top of my head, because I don't call it.
I would like to know it as well.
The slide is on the chat for those who need to know. If you look up at 11:03, 11:04 a.m. on the chat, the chart is already there. I put the slides, the herb slides there with the katazo there. But they can also check out our YouTube, like, down, and subscribe, and pass it forward. It's there on our link on our YouTube. Continue, Mkulu, as I miss.
Yes, sir. So, katazo, katazo. We're winding off all the negativity. We're not getting rid of negativity. You can't kill negativity. Negativity is energy. It needs to be transformed into something else. You understand? So, la amandla of the negative energy, and then this herb as well. We crash out, we pause it, and then it's good also for clean out the blood circulation. And then
it just reminded me now what you just said. You can't. When you are trying, don't use the katazo, guys, because it's going to kataza everything.
Exactly.
So if you're using herbs like your cinnamon, which is like an attraction herb, it's a manifestation herb, and it's a herb that attracts money, wealth, prosperity, and the moment you bring katazo into the mix, everything just goes to sleep. It's like neutralizer in some way. It kind of reminds me of the gold clay, where people bacela ngayo just before kuzoba nemisebenzi or before kuzonyathela abantu abaningi egcekeni, to neutralize the energy. But you can't use that clay all the time because it also suppresses your own magic.
Yeah, true. No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So, like, I think that particular awareness, it's also vital for everyone to uphold, you know, because you might be attempting towards doing indoor right for your own self, and then who's compromised when out of lack of knowledge. So it also vital was which kind of potency and which kind of elementary property that each herb contains, yabona. So ikhathazo siyakhathaza kakhulu, siyakhathaza. Kunabantu abagangayo, other people, they trying to prepare you know, and then like, yes, siyakhathaza yonke nje into wrong esemzimbeni, you know.
Even in storage, when you store these herbs, just to emphasize on that, with even some herbs you can't store them with other herbs. Yeah. You can't store this herb with other herbs. It needs to be stored like separately. It's kind of like there's a herb just outside my door. That herb is not allowed to come inside the house. Yes, at all. So even in the storage, when we buy herbs and we store them, we need to really educate ourselves about how do we store these things, because it's not like Pick and Pay or whichever shop where you can just randomly put things as wherever that you want, you know. You also need to think about what the herb does, because if you put the herb amongst certain other herbs, you've just killed the energy of those other herbs.
So independently to end up on independently we are fighting kakhulu. So ugcine afighter even about bhuti bakhe sometimes. So kumele like simenzele iroom yakhe ahlala ayi-one. And then we all know is sage. This is sage. Sage was used essentially used in ancient Kemet. Yeah. Sage was indigenous Kemet, sage. In Bepo, like, yeah, it's still wet. But the sage, Nakone, it's one of a negative spirits. It's sage, where you can boil it and drink it because it's antiseptic, and then it's antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory again. Food, because such as like a lot of species, you understand. So particularly sage falls under a family of Imbepo, you know. So the sage is we say tied up and then oranges dry up, and then we say she's in our spaces to cleanse ambience of indawo la sihlala khona silwe nama-forces of anthropy attack of usethi, because you know the person who avenge usethi yilo esingaye today you hero uyabona the whole.
I'm gonna ask you to please leave the herb here, because I'll tell you why. Because this plant is also good for repelling insects. So if you've got infestation, because right now I've got ants. Ants. So sage is very good at repelling ants, and those who have bed bugs, you know, in Imbungulu or those other herbs. Those other
even flies,
the
mosquitoes.
Stuffing it inside your mattress is quite helpful.
It is. For the home, for the like space right in different kinds of aspects. For space right, this cousin here who writes the food to cater for that, you know, and even like the Njonga, she looks like she got antimicrobial properties, anti-inflammatory. We are calling we boil again is sage. If maybe I was to Menzi said like in pepper, we are gonna boil is sage again, and then you sip it again. So this is sage. We're wondering if is in the more maybe again for ambience in your house space, and again prepare the insects as
yeah. Mosquito during the rainy season. Also burning it chases away abo mosquito. So instead of running to buy something for mosquitoes, it's very, very good if you just burn it. The one that we spoke about earlier, burning it in the house, you get rid of all the mosquitoes.
Yes.
May I please ask, excuse me, may I please ask permission for comments, because we are about to close soon, but I would like us to have some comments from our people, from our audience. Any comments, any questions while Baba takes a water break? Any comments, any questions on the herbs that were shared, or on Heru, on the mythopoetics of it, or in the tradition, Kemetic tradition, Nguni tradition? Any questions arising? Please feel free. This is your moment. Because we are about to wind down.
Well, if we have any questions on Facebook, I'm gonna mute for a while.
10 minutes left. And the knowledge of herbs is endless. And Umkulu, I know, is only giving us 30% of what he knows. In fact, it's giving us maybe 50 or 60 because I am learning so much. But there's a question while Goko is looking for comments. She'll stop me when she's ready. Amongst our questions that we had compiled, I wanted to know from you, this ancient knowledge that you speak about, Yase Kemet, Nile Valley civilization knowledge, how is it useful for the person living today in the so-called modern era? So what is the significance of this ancient knowledge today in your own terms, Mkul?
Suppose I'm cool. Well, with the whole adoption of the modernity, like the whole live it, this is Pilaguyo right now. One thing that isn't changed is what constitutes this world, this earth. The earth is so infinite, it's so old. What was it then? It still is and will forever be. And then it's just like like different deliberations, from men that varies from one age to the other, from the Neolithic age, Stone Age, but the elements are still the same. When we talk about the pantheon of the Neta, we talk about the very same elements that constitutes the whole livity, the whole system of Imbilo, or Rusigombilo, the cosmic econometograph of Imbilo, understand that a movement of Mkati, the terrain, the inner universe within, the inner bodies, the whole biosphere. So this whole ancient Kemetic system was to reveal the hidden mystery of which today we are still living on the very same earth, which is constituted by the very same elements, which means it is of utmost significance to know about these elements and know certain principles that can be useful in life as a pillar today. One of them being the applications of the Martian principalities, because the world that we're living in today we're just like running to destruction, a total moral cataclysm, you know, of the whole ethical code, the coding systems within Abandu. Siluza ama morals, you know, and ama morals, they are like the road that directs the ship. What's the Ikhambi to a certain directional rights, you understand? And once we lose our morals, and then the soul, it wanders about and it destructs our sets into 14 pieces, you know, the states of oblivion. And then Ubuyisa ama principles of Ubuntu as what's made our ancestors' way to straight from the Nile Valley, you know, Push, Puns, the whole ancient civilizations, you know, in the ends would prosper and flourish. Civilizations was the very same applications of the moral principles Gagama art, you know, because Heru becomes the king, the moral ethical king, to apply Uma art. So Ubuntu busbuyisela kakhulu ekubeni you know, and ekubeni like to know divinity yomuntu, because the umuntu is a macrocosm, is a reflection of the supreme divinity. So what the ancestors used that then can be very significant if we are applicable, you know, in the modern world.
Thank you, Mkulu. Thank you for that. Just one more question. Oh, let me make a comment. There was a comment by Roy before we go towards our sealing up. Papa Roy asked us a question about the seeds. How can we share and obtain the seeds of some of these herbs so that we can plant them in our gardens? And let me just say this before you answer that question, Garoy. I'll give Usizagele Nkosi, our sister Siza. Usizagele is making a comment basically with the idea of healing, nature and balance straight to my heart. Also leaving the session feeling humbled and the realization that it's important to play a part in this life. Be curious and grow because aguko ugufa magwande. I don't know what she says. She says aguko ugufa. She used the word you there, but maybe I think she says aguko ugufa. She's saying there's life eternal, basically. Life is eternal. So as long as we live for the principle of my art. Siyathokoza, siyabonga kakhulu, Sister Siza. Maybe Mkulu can speak to those two, or maybe to the question about the seeds, and then Boko can have a word or two.
Yeah, the question of the seeds, I think, is of most significance, you know, because not all of us have access to the pharmaceutical sometimes, you know, due to sometimes cost and due to sometimes we would see other ailments. Awabi well cured, such as malaria, HIV, what's not, awabi cured with the Western medicine, right? And then we know with the allopathy is the easiest way. It was we access because Mother Earth is everywhere. So the sharing of ama seeds, I think would are vital cool. So my estimation on that one would be with ama herbs, because like to be honest, these herbs in Watola, like like on the open, on the field, on the veld, on the bush, like, you know. So umuntu ofuna ama seeds, or rather ofuna mhlambe say like the roots for transplantation. I can offer ama roots, I can offer ama seeds of ama herbs for umuntu owafunayo, and uzongithola kwi link that I'm going to drop.
Thank you so much, Mkulu. Thank you. And I think Mkulu, the question raised by Uroy, the first thing when I heard the question was, I think maybe it's time that we build a seed nursery or something like that. Let's put it out there in the universe to have a seed nursery or something like that, so that we can preserve some of these endangered species. You know, we will find ourselves in a position where some of these plants we won't have them. We won't have them because they will be gone. There's so many other plants that we've lost due to over harvesting. And I think it's very important that we preach and re-preach the point about ethical harvesting and replanting as well. And I think this a seed nursery would be very, very helpful.
Yes, we give thanks. That is true. Yeah. Umdali. Umkhulu, ngicela nje before ngivale, any last words from you, any message to the people from your heart? We know that the king, Umkhulu Heru, is also a artist, a poet, and also a wordsmith of many levels. And izinhlamvu zamazwi akhe ziyelapha. Izinhlamvu zamazwi akhe ziwukhanya. We know that the seeds of his words are not frivolous words that are just thrown on Facebook for likes or thrown online on social media for attention. It is content that contains the very messages of God's self, you know. So we give thanks for your presence, Mkhulu. And we appreciate you. I want you to know live here on social media that Menzi Maseko appreciates you and your work, and Ikhambi appreciates you and who you are to the highest level of appreciation. It's appreciate loving, as you know. Yeah. So last words, my king.
Yes,
Any of your last words from me?
Yes, give thanks for the moment.
Let's say everlasting word, not last word. It's not
if we can,
everlasting words.
Take us out with a piece.
Please.
A few words.
You know, I don't like the spot that you're putting me in.
Yes, I even got the baby, the guitar. The piece.
No, okay, like, but no, like on
we've got 2 minutes to hear. We've got 2 minutes to hear the everlasting words from King Heru.
On my exit, I would like to thank everybody, you know, for coming to the session, and I would like to urge everybody, including myself, to be more aligned towards the
Oh, great, most high. As we close, the technology decides to act up on us. Mkhulu is just sharing that we must be more aligned. He's wishing for all of us to be more aligned to our healthier, better selves, or higher selves. I am not hearing him. I don't know if anyone else can hear him. I think he maybe disappeared. It's just me. I'm not sure. Can everyone hear Heru?
I think we've lost him. We were not ready to hear these wonderful words.
Yes, Sister Anita, how are you, sister?
I'm okay. Hopefully
Good to
he
have
can
you
come
here.
back so we can hear.
Okay, he's gone, and we are at closing now at the hour of 12. So, hoping that he comes back to our Nkosi ilindwa ngeculo, ilindwa ngehubo. So I'm going to recite Ihubo Lika Heru, one of the hymns, ancient hymns written in the Medunated language or in the hieroglyphic language, translated into isiZulu today by Umkhulu Nsingisi. While we wait for the hymn, we are going to close with this hymn, this ancient hymn of Heru. Ndodana yaloyo othule, nkosana yendlunkulu, wena onqoba ubumnyama nenhlupheko, wena ovela ezinzulwini zomhlaba. Iya endumbeni yakho, ngena endlini yakho, bhekisa ikhanda lakho elinezinsiba enyakatho. Lapho ubumnyama bulinde khona, ukunqotshwa yiso lakho, ndodana ka-Oset. The darkness is conquered by the eye of Heru. Remember that. Eye of Horus, as they say. Lapho ubumnyama bulinde khona, ukunqotshwa yiso lakho, ndodana ka-Oset. Ekhuphukayo ivela emhlabeni. He rises, arising from the earth. like the sunrise. Remember that. Ngilinde ukuvela kwakho okuhle. I am waiting for your arising. Ngilinde ukuvela kwakho okuhle. Amadlozi emazweni amabili, the sunrise and the sunset. Amadlozi emazweni amabili abuka impumalanga. Bonke babheke empumalanga. Ukubona isiqu sakho esinamaphiko, to see your image, your winged image, talking to the sun god Heru. Bonke amadoda nabesifazane balinde ukuza kwakho. Izithunzi nabaphilayo bayakudumisa. Heru, Heru. Yeah, so thank you for being here. Heru could not come back, so I think that ancient hymn of Heru would be a fitting closing. It can be found for those who need it at the Great Empire of Kemet online. Just look for Great Empire of Kemet, and their hymns are called Kemetic African Royal Calendar. So it's the calendar that we are using also, like Ikhambi, ancient Nilotic civilization calendar, or is from ancient Egypt or ancient Sudan and Nubia. So calendar and ancestral prayers, translated by Mkhulu Ntsingisa of Zinzi Mandela Foundation and Great Empire of Kemet movement. You look for them online, you can find the hymn book with all the neteru and all the different rituals, ukupahla, ekuseni, ntambama, emini, or any time of the day, the various ancient prayer rituals. So thank you everyone for attending, for being here today. We closed 30 minutes later than usual, but we give thanks for your presence. Thank you very much. Ukuthula makube nani, makube nathi. Peace be upon us all. Salam, salam. Ukuthula noxolo, khanya lesedi. Khotso. Why can't I even leave? Oh, there it is. Give thanks for life. Amen. Ra. Give thanks for the sun, the elements of creation. Rastafari, Ramasid, Heru, King Shangu, Oludumare, Mveli Nqandi, Mveli Kuqala, Ndonsagusa. Ndonsagusa would be the star, the morning star that rises in the morning. Like the name suggests. Is it Venus? Some say it's Venus, some say it's Sirius. But Venus is a planet and Sirius is more like a star system, a group of stars, a constellation.
It's a Sirius.
Sirius A, Sirius B, Sirius C. The three-pointed star, or the three stars. The three sisters, some say. Hi, Siabong. It's been a good morning. We give thanks for life. What must I try and do?
I just want to search.
It's never been washed.
No, I think it's just